Part 37. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 365. When the tree demon and vine monster saw the sickle in Sutingyu's hand, they immediately laughed out loud. Ha ha ha, isn't this human brat also mentally ill? That's right, do you really think that we are just ordinary flowers and plants, and you want to cut us off with just a broken sickle? Do you believe it? The dryad asked with a smile. The vine monster replied without hesitation, I don't believe it, do you? Of course I don't believe it either, ha ha ha. The tree demon continued to laugh. Sutingyu glanced at the faintly trembling death blade in his hand, and said comfortingly, don't be angry, let them see how powerful you are. A moment. The blade of the blade sliced open the sea water in front of him, forming waves of water that rippled away. The death blade, which originally looked as ordinary as a scythe, was suddenly enveloped in a dark blood light. Sutingyu reached out and pulled out, and a complete death blade with a length of more than 2 meters appeared, with a dark blood-colored mysterious luster all over its body, revealing a bone-chilling murderous intent. Sutingyu waved lightly, and a blade of light flashed through, suddenly cutting all the rattan branches dancing nearby into pieces. Ah! The vine monster screamed in pain. These were all part of his body. This kind of pain was equivalent to the severed limbs of human beings. Despicable humans. When they saw the true appearance and lethality of the death blade, the tree demon and the vine monster didn't understand anything. The human race in front of them was so cunning that they took advantage of them to let down their guard and trick the vine monster. Now, the tree demon and the vine monster no longer had any intention of laughing. Damn human! I'm going to strangle you bit by bit. Use your flesh and blood to compensate for my injured body, the vine monster roared, waving more vines, trying to deal with Su using the same method he used to deal with the dragon-horned boy. Listen to the fish. First tie the person up and hang him on a tree, then humiliate him severely, then shrink him little by little, strangle this hateful human race to death, and finally become their nourishment. The vine monster thought very well, and seemed to have seen the beautiful scene in which this hateful human race would beg him for mercy later. But actually, Sutingyu simply glanced at these rattans, then swung his knife neatly, cutting them into pieces, and then drifted everywhere with the sea water. After cutting the cane, Sutingyu didn't forget the roots of the dryad lurking underground. While the sand and stones were rolling, the tree demon controlled its own tree roots, trying to break out of the ground and tie up this human bastard. With the vine monster attracting attention from the front, the tree monster was still very confident in his heart. After all, relying on this tactic of darkness and light, many preys who thought they had some strength and wanted to pick the dragon fire fruit were killed. Sutingyu adjusted the thrust direction of his belt, and within a few seconds, he started swimming upward. After getting a certain distance away from the ground, Sutingyu lowered his head and glanced at the agitating dirtbags. He held the death blade in one hand and swung several sword energy downwards. In the afterimage of the sword, the ground seemed to have been bombarded by artillery shells, with dust flying and sea water surging. Ah, my roots! The tree demon who thought he had the pearl of wisdom couldn't keep calm at this moment. The tree roots he lurked in the ground were about to break out of the ground, but he ran into the sword of the god of death head-on. Even across the ground, the powerful mental and soul erosion power of the death blade can instantly kill all living cells in the roots of the tree, which is already too much for the tree demon to bear. Sutingyu ignored the wail of the tree demon and turned to glance at the trunk of the tree demon rooted in the ground, preparing to cut down the tree and remove the roots. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 366. The dragon-horned boy who was hung upside down from the tree opened his mouth in shock. It's unbelievable. The seemingly invincible tree monsters and vine monsters fell into the hands of a human girl one after another. It seems that they can't do anything to each other. This, is this, lao lao lao, the powerful and insidious human race that the teacher said, the young man with dragon horns murmured to himself. Suddenly, he thought that he might be saved, his eyes suddenly lit up, and he spoke eagerly. Calling Sutingyu, help, help, save me. Sutingyu, ah, there are still people. If the young man with dragon horns hadn't spoken out, Sutingyu almost couldn't hold back his knife and even chopped down the dragon belt tree. Sutingyu slightly changed the direction of his sword swing, and first cut off all the rattan ropes binding the boy with dragon horns. After losing his restraints, the dragon-horned boy broke free with a look of surprise on his face, and then hurriedly got away from the main body of the tree demon. My prey! Damn it! Sutingyu turned her eyes and glanced at the howling tree monsters and vine monsters, and said, I'll kill you if you eat me. As she said that, she changed the death blade from her right hand to her left hand, changed the direction of the blade, and charged towards. He slashed out several knives from under the trunk of the tree demon. Accompanied by an extremely miserable scream, the lush tree crashed down, causing intense waves of sea water to surge. Cough, cough, cough. The dragon-horned boy rolled several times on the ground. After standing up, he looked back at the dryad that had been completely cut off from the roots of its trunk, and patted his violently beating heart with lingering fear. After the nearby sea level calmed down a bit, Sutingyu walked closer and glanced at the dryad demon's face. At this time, it was maintaining the last trace of painful expression that was lingering. Hey, you haven't raised your braids yet. Sutingyu raised her eyebrows slightly. Sutingyu glanced at the remaining canes nearby. None of them were relatively complete, and many had been cut into pieces by sickles. Sutingyu frowned slightly. No, where did the main body of the vine monster go? Sutingyu looked around. Not far from her back, a rattan pretending to be dead was lying on the ground. It quietly penetrated into the nearest coral pile and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Let me go. I am willing to surrender to you, powerful human race. The tree demon no longer had the arrogance it had before, and begged for mercy in a low voice. Hearing this, Sutingyu had a thought in his mind. This tree demon is a spirit? Can we make a contract? Be the sworn spirit of the sickle? Brother, do you want to contract it? Sutingyu lowered his head and asked about the wish of the scythe in his hand. Although it looks a little shabby, a little old, and looks a little useless, but it can be used in the purple coral forest. If the inner area survives for a long time, it should still be able to survive. As soon as Sutingyu finished speaking, the sickle in his hand immediately trembled, and a very strong sense of resistance was felt. Sutingyu blinked his big eyes. Okay, brother sickle is not happy, what else can he do? Just go with it? Since you don't like it, then you can chop it. Sutingyu muttered to the sickle and slowly raised the sickle. The leaves above the tree demon's head shook violently and trembled. Don't kill me. Wait a minute, the young man with dragon horns suddenly yelled and ran over in a hurry. Sutingyu turned his head and looked at the young man with dragon horns like he was a mentally retarded child. What? Do you want to plead for it? No, the young man with dragon horns shook his head immediately. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 367. Then what do you want to do? Sutingyu looked at the dragon-horned boy with interest, and gradually glanced at the two corners of his forehead. His expression paused. This. What kind of fish is this with horns on its head? Kuakuakuo, fruit. The dragon-horned boy pointed at the red fruit on the tree demon's head and said excitedly, good stuff. After you take it, then, chop him again. Fruit. Sutingyu listened for a long time and finally understood what the dragon-horned boy said. She turned her head slightly and glanced at the red fruit on the tree demon's head. It was like a bright flame, very bright. It looks like, is this fruit a treasure? I'll give you all the dragon fire fruits. Please let me go, I won't dare any more. As soon as the tree demon saw that Sutinyu seemed to be interested in his fruit, he immediately expressed his attitude. Before the dryad was finished, Sutinyu raised his knife and cut the trunk of the dryad into several sections, avoiding the fruits. This time, the tree demon was completely dead. Grafting is no longer possible. Sutinyu looked at the incisions on the dryad's body, showing traces of black blood. This is the corrosive power of the death blade. Because the tree demon is not a necromancer, the effect is relatively weakened. However, Sutinyu made more than a dozen cuts, completely wiping out the vitality in the tree demon's body. Sutinyu took back the sickle and prepared to happily pick up the fruits. Who knows, whoosh, a dark shadow flashed in front of his eyes. Sutinyu blinked his big eyes and saw the silly young man with dragon horns bending down to pick a fruit. I got the dragon fire fruit. I took it, I got it, the boy with dragon horns hugged the dragon fire fruit, which was bigger than his head, and laughed with ecstasy on his face. Sutinyu narrowed his eyes slightly, held his right hand emptily, and the meteor rod suddenly appeared in his hand. Bang! Sutinyu hit the dragon-horned boy directly on the back of the head. Ouch! The boy with dragon horns was knocked so much that his body was tilted. He howled in pain and turned his head with a fierce look. Who hit me, you? When he saw that only Sutinyu was holding the hand in front of him, when the stick was still staring at him expressionlessly, the young man with dragon horns' expression froze for a moment. Then, with a pop sound, the young man with dragon horns knelt down in front of Sutinyu in a daze, holding the fruit and crying bitterly, Father, 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 there is a fish bullying me, woo woo hoo. Forward. Sutinyu blinked his big eyes, unable to react. That's not right. Didn't this little mentally retarded person want to steal her fruit? Why do you feel like you are the big bad guy now? Ahem. Sutinyu coughed twice and changed to a relatively calm expression. Hey, if you cry, just put my fruit down and don't throw your tears and snot on it. You bully children, the young man with dragon horns opened his eyes wide and accused with a nasal voice. Sutinyu put one hand on her hips and said aggressively, get up. You, what do you want to do? The young man with dragon horns moved his butt back and stared at Sutinyu fearfully, looking as if he wanted to run away at any moment. Sutinyu waved his hand, you get up first. Seeing that Sutinyu didn't seem to have any intention of hitting him, the Long Jiao boy stood up without knowing why. After seeing him stand up, Sutinyu stretched out her hand, first put it on top of her head and gestured, and then gestured from a distance to the dragon-horned boy who was almost 2 heads taller than her. Look, you are taller than me. I am a child, you are not. After the gesture, Sutinyu argued confidently, aren't you ashamed to steal my fruit? Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuan-Kei. Chapter 368. The eyes of the young man with dragon horns were slightly glazed over for a moment. You are lying. The dragon-horned boy always felt that something was strange. You are from the human race, and I am not an adult yet. You must be older than me. Hey. What's old? Sutinyu's eyes instantly became dangerous. You say it again. I. The dragon-horned boy suddenly became submissive and did not dare to say anything. Sure enough, the teacher was right, females are strange creatures. Bring the fruit. Sutinyu stretched out his hand. The dragon-horned boy immediately shook his head. No. Sutinyu pointed at the body of the tree demon. I killed this. The fruits are trophies, so they all belong to me. The dragon-horned boy blushed slightly, but he really needed this fruit, so he could only act shamelessly. I, 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 I picked it up. It's mine. Hey. Sotingu's patience was gone. She carried the Liu stick, which was taller than her, and walked in the direction of the dragon-horned boy one step at a time. You, what do you want to do? You, don't come over. Don't come over. I, I'm very fierce. I eat people. As soon as the Long Jiao boy saw Sotingu approaching him, he felt something was wrong and looked as if he was facing a formidable enemy. Ha ha. Sotingu gave him a look of understanding, then raised the meteor rod, and his face instantly became fierce and cute. Sotingu hit the head with a stick. Steal my fruit, right? You picked it up, right? You're underage, right? The boy with dragon horns wanted to run away, but the strange thing was that the falling stick in Sotingu's hand always hit him on the head or buttocks, making him scream in pain. Stop it, hit me again. The dragon-horned boy covered his head with one hand and his butt with the other, biting the tip of the fruit with his mouth, his face full of anger. Ignorant and barbaric human race. If not seeing as you saved my life, I would have gone crazy a long time ago. Oh, Sotingu raised his eyebrows slightly, then let me see how fierce you are. As he said that, Sotingu took advantage of the Long Jiao boy's distraction and sneak attacked him with a stick, hitting the latter's butt. You sneak attack. Ouch, don't, stop fighting. Hit me again, hit me again, ouch. The young boy with dragon horns wants to rise up and resist. Ran goose. In the end, he hugged the fruit tightly with both hands, no longer blocking his head and buttocks from being exposed, and leaned on the ground, looking like a rogue. You beat me to death. This fruit is mine too. At this moment, Sotingu was a little speechless. Where did this little retard come from? The skin is rough and the flesh is thick. Bullying him also makes it look like this fairy has not paid the IQ tax. So, Sue's face suddenly became amiable as if hearing a Yuchuan opera. Why do you want this fruit? Are you hungry? You're not. The young man with dragon horns glanced at Sotingu with disdain. Sure enough, the teacher didn't lie to me. Humans are all foodies and want to eat everything they see. This is dragon fire fruit, a very precious bodybuilding material. It is also the purpose, goal of my training. As long as I take it back, it will, no dragon will look down on me, the dragon-horned boy stumbled to explain. Sotingu frowned, but he could barely understand. But Sotingu glanced at the horns on the dragon-horned boy's head. Are you a dragon? Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 369. For a moment, the young man with dragon horns held his head high and said, "Yes, I am the most powerful dragon in the sea." Boom. Sotingu hit the Long Jiao boy on the head with a stick. The latter stumbled and fell to the ground. Sotingu glanced at it, very suspicious. Hey. That's it? And the most powerful dragon? You, why did you hit me again? I'm a dragon. It's a dragon. The boy with dragon horns covered the area where he was hit and his eyes widened. Why are the trees and people I met today not afraid of my identity as a dragon? Obviously the teacher said that their dragon clan is the dominant force in the deep sea. Just you? A crybaby dragon? Isn't it too embarrassing for the dragon clan? Sotingu sighed. The Long Jiao boy was furious. He wanted to say something to retort to Sotingu, but because he was in such a hurry, everything he wanted to say got stuck in his throat. Okay, look how pitiful you are. Sotingu waved her little paw and sighed sympathetically. I can give you a fruit. Dang dang, seriously, the young man with dragon horns was surprised. Sutinyu raised her chin, with a righteous look on her face, of course. I never lie to children. When the Long Jiao boy heard this, his face looked dubious. He secretly glanced at Sutinyu a few times, but the more he looked at it, the more the Long Jiao boy felt that the latter seemed pretty good too. Although he had been beaten so many times, when the Long Jiao boy saw Sutinyu's face, most of the anger in his heart dissipated. He couldn't hold any grudge at all. He still felt that this human race was quite friendly. The young man with dragon horns hesitated and said, "Then, thank you." "You're welcome," Sutinyu agreed readily, and then changed her tone, "but, I saved you again and gave you a fruit. Am I your great benefactor? And you didn't help me with anything. Isn't it unfair?" "Ah, it seems so." The young man with dragon horns felt that it made sense. He is a good dragon. You can't take other people's fruits for free. Then I can exchange it with you for other precious materials," the dragon-horned boy suggested. "It's time to show off. I've never been to your Dragon Clan Crystal Palace in my whole life. I want to go in and have a look and broaden my horizons." Sutinyu carried the meteor stick and stared at the dragon-horned boy with a look of backwardness. If the person doesn't agree, then... After hearing this, the young man with Long Jiao looked relaxed and confident. "That's it? This, isn't it easy? In a few days, my family will hold the Dragon King's 1,000-year birthday banquet, a big banquet, everyone will be invited guest. When the time comes, I will take you in." Hearing this, Sutinyu blinked his big eyes. Aren't they not allowed to enter the Dragon Clan Crystal Palace? Wait a minute. It's just not for human beings to enter, it doesn't say it's not for other creatures. Sutinyu had just come out of the Mermaid Kingdom, and she still helped the mermaid find the orb. For a moment, she inevitably looked at the problem from the mermaid's point of view. Then wow! It's settled, Sutinyu found a way to enter the Dragon Clan Crystal Palace. Sutinyu was in a good mood and waved his little hand. "Hey, how can one fruit be enough? You can take as much as you want." Okay. The dragon-horned boy's eyes were shining, and he couldn't wait to pick up the fruits. While picking up the fruits, he praised, You are the friendliest human race I have ever seen." "Really? What was your previous impression of the human race?" Sutinyu asked curiously. After arriving at this dungeon, Sutinyu stayed in the sea and had no chance to contact the NPC humans in the dungeon. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 370. While picking up the fruit, the dragon-horned boy complained angrily, "Those humans. They are so bad. Bad, so bad. Dang, of course, I am not talking about you, my benefactor." The head of the dragon-horned boy and the buttocks are very eager to survive, and they immediately added the last sentence. "Oh, what exactly is the bad method?" Sutinyu took back the falling stick and picked up a fruit. "Those bad humans, they eat anything. As long as it can be cooked or roasted, they can eat everything in their stomachs. Many marine species are almost eaten to extinction by them." Sutinyu blinked his big eyes, looking innocent. It's not her. Those bad humans, they make everything. They use factories to make cannons, and then discharge a pile of black oil into the sea. And wow, they can actually produce garbage," the young man with dragon horns said, his tone paused. Very confused. "All creatures in the ocean are driven by rakes. Why can humans produce garbage that even rakes don't eat? The rakefish is a strange fish in the sea. It eats nothing but the rakes pulled out by other creatures. Ah, this. Sutingyu rolled his eyes and thought for a while, but still couldn't come up with a reasonable explanation. And the young man with dragon horns continued to complain. Humans are all insidious and cunning creatures. They are especially good at taking advantage and deceiving other creatures. My teacher, the most handsome dragon in the dragon tribe, was deceived by a human woman a few years ago. Woolen cloth. Wow, Sutingyu's big eyes lit up slightly. What's going on? How do you know? Did your teacher admit it personally? The Long Jiao boy shook his head. No, this is a rumor in the clan. Oh, wait, why don't you stutter? Well, I stutter when I'm nervous, hee. Now that I'm not nervous, I won't stutter. The dragon-horned boy smiled innocently. Sutingyu was slightly shocked. How could he be like this? Benefactor, I have finished picking the dragon fire fruits. Do you want some? When the Long Jiao boy picked the fruits, he did not twist off the fruits directly, but left branches and leaves, and then tied the branches and leaves of all the fruits together. You can drag all the fruits over with one hand. Sutingyu, this crybaby dragon, all the fruits are obviously hers. After Sutingyu got the fruit, the panel popped out. She took the opportunity to take a few glances and knew that this thing was one of the main materials of a bodybuilding method. However, this method was not suitable for the fragile small body of humans. So, this thing is of no use to Sutingyu. She is a delicate and weak little fairy. I've given it all to you. Sutingyu also threw the fruit in his hand to the boy with dragon horns. Thank you, benefactor. You are such a good person. The teacher is right, there are still some friendly people in the human race. The young man with dragon horns grinned and took the fruit with a smile. When the Long Jiao boy looked up at Sutingyu, his smile paused slightly, and then his face became a little confused. Benefactor, why did the conch on your chest change its color? Huh? Changed color? Sutingyu lowered his head and glanced blankly. The next second, his eyes widened in surprise. Conch, the conch is glowing. Pink light. What's changing color? It's glowing. Sutingyu replied, quickly took off the conch, and then turned it over and over to check. She was right, it was really glowing. Pink, pink, pink friendly. Sutingyu turned his head sharply and stared at the curious Long Jiao boy with burning eyes. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 371. The young man with dragon horns swallowed his saliva. Yeah, benefactor, why are you looking at me like that? I'm a little scared. Sutingyu suddenly smiled and spoke softly, as if he was kidnapping a child. What did you just say about me? Say it again. Benefactor, are you a good person? A friendly human race. The young man with dragon horns didn't know why, but he repeated what he meant before. Sutingyu took another look at the conch, which was still glowing pink, and a patch on the surface of the conch gradually changed from white to pink. After the pink light dissipated, the pink patch was left. At this time, Sutingyu's panel popped up. Main mission, looking for the heart of the brave, 1/8, to be refreshed. Could it be that the friendly qualities in the brave heart were recognized by the conch? That's it? So simple? Please tell me more, such as bravery and wisdom? Justice and integrity? Humility, mercy, and unyielding. Sutingyu blinked his big eyes and looked at the dragon-horned boy expectantly. The dragon-horned boy was a little confused. Is this what the teacher often said, that humans are all a group of shameless creatures? Say it quickly. Sutingyu puffed up her face, otherwise, I won't give you the fruit. Benefactor. You are so brave, intelligent, just and honest. You are humble and compassionate to the unyielding human race. When the dragon-horned boy heard that he would have no more dragon fire fruit, He stopped stuttering and spoke quickly. After the Long Jiao boy finished speaking, Sutingyu looked at Conk, but this time, Conk didn't react at all. What's going on? Is this thing broken? Sutingyu shook the conch, trying to throw out some red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple light. After no response for a long time, the depressed Sutingyu hung the conch around his neck again. Benefactor, what's wrong? The Long Jiao boy witnessed all Sutingyu's actions. Sutingyu frowned and asked, are you sincere in what you just said? Ah. The Long Jiao boy carefully glanced at Sutingyu's face. Really, really, really. Hearing this, Sutingyu narrowed his eyes slightly. Come on. It's fake at first glance. However, the young man with dragon horns said before that she was friendly, but the conch glowed. Is it possible to tell the difference between truth and lies? Sutingyu kept guessing, but couldn't be completely sure. How about finding some fish to try? After no longer being entangled, Sutingyu planned to leave here and explore other areas of the purple coral forest. However, in order to prevent the Long Jiao boy from running away, he had to trick him into committing suicide with him. Ahem, go watch the purple coral forest. Wonderful view of the coral forest. Would you like to play with me in the purple coral forest first? Wait until it's almost time for the Dragon King's birthday party, and then go to the Dragon Palace. Playing, the young man with dragon horn looked suspicious. The teacher said that the purple coral forest is not a fun place. So, he came to take a look. Now the Long Jiao boy knew how dangerous it was. If it weren't for the dragon fire fruit, he would have run away as soon as he got out of trouble. Yes, there are many treasures here. Don't you want them? Sutingyu's eyes turned slightly, and a hint of cunning emerged. If you can get other treasures, not only will your tribe not look down on you, but they will also I will adore you. That's right, the dragon-horned boy's eyes lit up, but the next second, he thought of his weak strength and said dejectedly, forget it, there are many powerful creatures here, I can't beat them. I'm protecting you. So you're scared? Sutingyu put her hands on her hips, held her head high, and looked proud. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuan-Ke. Chapter 372. That's right, the young man with dragon horns suddenly realized it, and then said excitedly, let's go, let's go, let's go. Go, go, find the treasure. Wait a minute. Are you planning to keep holding on to this fruit? Sutingyu pointed at the dragon fire fruit. Oh, wait for me. I saw that the young man with dragon horns took out a strange pouch. When he opened the mouth of the pouch, an invisible suction force appeared and sucked all the fruits into it. However, the pouch remained its original size and shape. Sutingyu's eyes widened slightly. You. The Long Jiao boy tied the mouth of the bag, took it back, and said disapprovingly, this is a storage bag, you can put things in it, it's very convenient. Sutingyu blinked his big eyes, are there any restrictions on this thing? Of course there is. I won't be able to hold another 500 dragon fire fruits. I need to change it. The dragon horned boy made an estimate and said. Sutingyu probably understood. This storage bag should be similar to the inventory, but the latter has no capacity limit so far. Benefactor, don't you have one yourself? Why are you still asking me? The Long Jiao boy asked doubtfully. He remembered that Sutingyu's sickle and stick appeared and then disappeared. He must have some storage in his body. Stuff bag. Ahem, mine is different, Sutingyu said vaguely, trying to fool him. The young man with dragon horns had no doubt that he was there. Oh. Let's go, Sutingyu changed the subject. Yeah. The name of the boy with dragon horns is Ao Pokang. The dragon clan reaches adulthood at the age of 800. He just turned 200 this year. Therefore, Ao Pokang is really just a child. Because of his young age, weak strength, and stuttering problem, The young dragons of the same age in the clan always liked to make jokes. Aopokang became so angry that he ran away from home. Aopokang originally wanted to find dragon fire fruit in the purple coral forest to prove himself, but he was plotted by the tree demon and the vine monster, and then he met Sutingyu. Aopokang looked silly, and Sutingyu easily got a lot of useful information out of him. The purple coral forest can be divided into 3 areas: periphery, interior, and center. The area where 1 person and 1 dragon is now is the internal area. In the internal area, it is also divided into 8 small areas. In each small area, there is a powerful creature like an overlord. The tree demon killed by Sutingyu was one of the 8 overlords, but he was considered the weakest because he was difficult to move and needed to unite with the vine monsters as hunting allies. By the way, I'm here to find a lost orb from a friend of mine, but I don't know where it is. On the way, Sutingyu also expressed his intention. But the purple coral forest is so big. Aopokang scratched his head, suddenly thought of something, and said, if other creatures in the territory pick up foreign items, they will usually give them to the overlord of the territory. That's it? Sutingyu blinked his big eyes. Now, his goal was clear again. The tree demon has just a bunch of fruits of little use here. I hope the other 7 overlords will have some good treasures in their collections. It would be best if she could find the orb at once. The best 7 overlords, if you go to one, you can light up a quality. Sutingyu thought happily. As long as she is lucky, her dreams will come true. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 373. Knowing that Sutingyu was going to all the overlords, Aopokang became nervous and wanted to back out many times. You are the tyrant of the deep sea. You can't lose the face of the dragon clan. Baby from 7 nests. Don't you want it? But despite being tempted by Sutingyu again and again, Aopokang finally took the map and showed Sutingyu the way. Benefactor, are you sure you can defeat those overlords? Sure. Benefactor, how about we take a long-term approach? Benefactor, I think. Sutingyu answered patiently at first, but gradually became speechless. Is this really a dragon? Weak, cowardly, and prone to crying. Maybe only good face and loving babies are like dragon genes. When they almost reached the territory of the 2nd overlord, Aopokang was still nagging. My benefactor, this overlord is a big strange fish. He can spit out foul-smelling black mist. He is also rough-skinned and fleshy. I heard from my teacher that he is more ferocious than a shark. He is basically domineering in this area. I don't like anyone I see yet, just swallow it in one gulp. Oh, Sutingyu responded casually, stop talking, help me find him out, or how to lure him out. Benefactor, I heard from our teacher that this big strange fish is a one-eyed fish. A few years ago, due to some grudges, his other eyeball was poached by a dragon of my own clan, so he hates everything related to dragons. That's it. Sutingyu blinked his big eyes, smiled, and suddenly shouted to the front, there is a dragon here. There is a dragon here. There is a dragon. Aopokang looked stunned and his mouth was stuck. No. No. What is this for? Soon, Aopokang knew what Sutingyu was doing. Because of this voice, a black spot appeared in front of him and rushed here at an extremely fast speed. I am the sea god. It's a big strange fish. Aopokang was startled and turned around to find a place to hide. Sutingyu watched helplessly as Aopokang ignored his noble dragon image and was so frightened that he crawled into a hole sunk in the coral. Sutingyu was speechless. Where's the dragon? Where's the damn dragon? The big monster fish rushed over and roared. He was still smaller than an adult shark, but his head was obviously fatter than his body, and his tail was twice as long as an ordinary shark. Sutingyu also saw it. The big strange fish was blind in its left eye, leaving only a claw mark on its eyelid. Hello. Sutingyu tried to say hello. The big strange fish glanced over, and when he saw Sutingyu, he was as surprised as the tree demon. A weak little human kid. The big strange fish looked at Sutingyu suspiciously for a few times, making sure that there were no traces of other creatures' transformations on her body, so he opened his mouth fiercely and threatened, "You little human kid, if you don't want me to eat you, just answer my questions honestly. Did you see a dragon?" Sutingyu nodded, paused, and then shook his head. The big strange fish swayed its body from side to side irritably. "Is it there?" Aopokang trembled while hiding in the coral. "Let me think about it, don't be impatient." Sutingyu waved her little paw and thought hard for a moment. Suddenly, she raised her head and looked behind the big strange fish with a surprised look on her face. "Hey, Aopokang, why are you back again?" Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 374. Ao. Dragon Clan? The big strange fish hates the Dragon Clan. Naturally, it is very clear that the Dragon Clan's surname is Ao. He turned around subconsciously. The belt around Sutingyu's waist erupted with a violent thrust, pushing her towards the big monster fish. With a weak hold of his right hand, the death blade was summoned. "Raise the knife. Cut it off." Just when he was about to chop down the big monster fish, he suddenly turned his head and quickly sprayed black mist from his mouth. "Cunning human race. You actually want to plot against me? Naive dash." The big strange fish saw through Sutingyu's little trick, and his wild laughter came out from the black mist. Sutingyu wrinkled her nose. The black mist smelled really bad. The sickle in his hand was swung, and the power of the sword was driving the surrounding sea water, dispersing the black mist. Haha, it's not certain that someone is naive. Although Sutingyu felt regretful about not being able to succeed in the sneak attack, he was not surprised either. Underwater, Sutingyu's mobility was somewhat hindered after all, and was inferior to these creatures that had been in the sea since birth. "But I wanted you to act more ignorant." Sutingyu sighed, her eyes calm and composed, and she suddenly looked in a certain direction of the black mist, curling her lips and smiling. "I found you." "How is that possible?" Before the big monster fish had time to fight back, Sutingyu discovered its position. The sword struck down, and the surrounding sea water was filled with black mist, and the big monster fish had nothing to hide. Sutingyu had a happy face. Huh. Playing the dark trick in front of the death blade? Not on the table. Aopokang, who was hiding in the coral, almost couldn't help but stick his head out when he heard Sutingyu calling his name. "Fortunately, I stopped the car at the last second." But soon, the sound of fighting came from outside. Aopokang struggled for a while. He struggled until the sound of fighting seemed to have subsided, and then he tentatively stuck out his head. But when he saw the scene outside, his eyes glazed over for a moment. Big, where's the big strange fish? Why is my benefactor standing in front of a puddle of black mud? Crying dragon, come out quickly." Sutingyu glanced at Aopokang's head from the corner of his eye and waved to the latter. Aopokang climbed out carefully. "Benefactor, where is that big strange fish?" Here it is." Sutingyu pointed at the black mud that Aopokang saw at first. Aopokang blinked, glanced once, twice, 3 times. He, big, you, kill him." Aopokang was so shocked that his tongue curled up. Fortunately, Sutingyu could understand what it meant this time. "Yes, I'll kill him. Let's take a walk, there's nothing good about him. Let's go take a look at his lair." Oh. Aopokang responded in a confused tone. He took another look and still couldn't believe it. The big strange fish with rough skin and thick flesh was actually chopped into meat paste by Sutingyu. Sutingyu casually caught a small fish nearby and asked about the big strange fish's lair, so he went to raid it. There is such a treasure. As soon as Ao Pakang saw it, he immediately forgot about the shadow of the big strange fish being chopped into meat paste. He said the benefactor is awesome one by one, and he was so excited. But Sutingyu didn't find the orb in the big strange fish's lair. There is no choice but to find the next overlord. This time, Ao Pokangseong was very energetic and proactive in leading the way. Within 2 days, Sutingyu invaded the territories of the 8 overlords. If the overlord was extremely arrogant at the beginning and even threatened to eat Sutingyu and Ao Pakang, he was chopped into pieces by the death blade.